Namaste and welcome, beloved and mighty companions. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing us together. We're hoping a Spanish translator will jump on board. We had one planned, so I'm just going to go ahead and we'll be talking about the Song of Prayer, false versus true healing. Must not serve the whole to have translation. Okay. Now, beautifully last night, before I begin, we had a really beautiful joining today with the chapter 20 partners. So if you're interested in chapter 20 or you started, it was just off the rails. So it's on YouTube and you can go watch, and we'll probably be posting it on Facebook tomorrow or in the next couple of days. But it's a very, very powerful joining, especially for just some really direct how to really look with Jesus and release these denials all the way to the death wish. We have to be uncompromising about it, really. I can see that, how we compromise. We start looking and then all of a sudden we get distracted. Or it was really beautiful because Lena came up to me. She's so on point. And she said, types me a little message. I feel tired. And she could see that tiredness was, she definitely needed to look at that, because that fatigue is a way of avoiding, of not looking. So she's on to it. When we're on to it, boy, Jesus, we can turn to Jesus and he can really help us move past these little plays in consciousness, these little mini hell episodes. So he's pretty direct. He's getting really direct. I guess I must need it because. And he's getting very, very on point with things. And we just found out our Spanish translator's on her way. Thank you, Holy Spirit. There she is. There's Melissa. That's like the big signal that Dyra's coming. Melissa jumps on. Because they're like twins. They're the twin Christs. They move as one. It's really quite extraordinarily beautiful. So yeah, I'm just going to go and trust that when Jesus provides it. Oh, there she is. She'll be here. Hi, Walter. It's good to see you. God, it's good to see all of you. You just can't.
I thought I was about to translate, and they is here, so okay, good.
You're not escaping that easily. No. You never know what Spirit do. He might all of a sudden spontaneously say, okay, Walter, you're going to take over now. But we trust. Look at you. He's bringing on. I love that. Walter, you are such a symbol of, total love. Oh my God, so much love and willingness. Like what a symbol of willingness. So thank you for that, Walter. Love you. Even though he's happy that Dyra might do it.
Yes, I'm happy that Dyra is translating.
Okay. Well,
and mainly because you said something like, okay, today we're going to do this, and and you go like 3-4 sentences, and then you stop, and Dyra gets like full sentence and grabs everything. She's great.
Well, and that's really the fun of it, to see how he's going to simulcast through all our translators.
Ken. Who?
Well, ask Ask him now, Walter. This is so much fun. Ask him what he says about it.
You know, I already went through the full process of asking him and asking also some people, and you know, the conversation that we had this morning of the fears. I put the fears that I don't know what I'm doing, that somebody else is doing it better, but I know that I need to be a backup every time it's needed.
Oh God, you're just so love you, Walter.
Yeah.
Golly, thank you.
But I don't see Daira moving her lips. No veo a Daira moviendo los labios.
Well, do you want to translate until she's ready?
Sí. Do I want to translate until she's ready? Okay. Voy a traducir hasta que ella esté lista. Okay.
Okay, so here we go.
Aquí empezamos.
So we were in the last episode, we were talking about we're going to just gently lay the body aside when its usefulness is done. Oh, Daira's on board. Walter.
She's moving her lips. She's moving her lips, so I'm good.
Oh my God, it's a love festival. Okay, so for those that might be interested, we do have a Spanish translation going on. If you like to hear it in Spanish, there's a teleconference number that you can call, and we can you just let us know, and we'll send you the information for the next session. But it's posted on the Spanish Joining in Light page, and they're posting it all the time. So if you're new from the Spanish side, Daira is translating, but she's talking through a phone number that you would call so that you can just hear the full translation. And because she just loves how Jesus, usually as fast as I can talk, she'll still hear Jesus and finish before my sentences. And that's when the Spirit is just rocking our world. Because it's not one mind. It's not two separate. It's one mind moving together. There's what? 8 of them on there. Oh, there are 8 of you loving beings out on the teleconference now. We're sending our big hugs to you. But I just want to say we really do love seeing your faces on when you feel to jump a join and just watch on Zoom. I mean, the love from that oh my gosh, we can hardly talk about it when we see all of you. So it's very precious to see your beautiful Christ faces. So to just be so at peace knowing that the body is not what we are. Jesus says the only peace comes from this. I was asking him, like after the session, I was talking to him. He says, I can talk about this. I just said, so Jesus, and he's saying right here, we decide when the body is laid down. He says, yes. Can I let you decide for me? He says, yes. See, I'll let him choose everything for me. Because I know he knows the best time. He knows the timing that's most helpful. Then I don't have to know anything. You just handle it, Jesus, and time is maximized to serve the whole in a way I can't know. I just feel happy talking about this. Like the joy of that. I said, Jesus, you coming for me like you went for Helen? He said, not yet. So much love. So much love in that. Yeah. But he's here now. So, but he'll offer what comfort, because he knows that we believe in a timeline with an expiration date, so we can have a really fun adventure when pretending like we're going to die. This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. It's no longer an impediment to supreme happiness. It's not used anymore as an impediment. Supreme happiness is here. So it's just this continual rejoicing. That's our function. Jesus asked him, is my function continual rejoicing? Infinite. He's saying infinite continual rejoicing. We're so used to pleasure to replace, to be the little supplement for joy, pleasure and pain, avoiding pain and seeking pleasure, to forget what joy is. Let's just ask Jesus, do I have a desire just to totally have joy amnesia? Yes. You can hear the yes. Okay, I need your help. Did I make a decision to be clueless about joy? And here's the answer. That's the same as being clueless about identity. We want to be clueless. We want to be clueless in the right way, not the cluelessness of the ego. It pretends like it's innocent, face of innocence. No, we want to admit, oh, I made this world. See, the ego likes to make the world and then be mad about it, to have something to be mad about, rather than going, oh my gosh, I tried to make a world. It's absolutely impossible. So let's ask Jesus. Jesus, is the world, is it impossible to make a world? Anybody ever get yes on that? Is the world real? See if you get a yes from Jesus that the world is real. So it's all concepts that we're buying. See, you can't take a train to New York. He was talking about this to me, unless you buy the ticket. And then step on the train. So you still have a chance, even though you bought the ticket, you have a chance to say, whoa, no, I don't think I want to go to New York. Okay, let's say you get off on the train. This is how consciousness plays. While I'm on the train, it's moving so fast, I can't get off. Just check in with Jesus to see if you can step off of it. Do I have the power to step off the thought train? And ask him. So that's how ego's going to play. You know, I don't have the power to get off the train. It's happening so fast. See if that's a desire. Jesus, do I have a desired experience for it seem like things are moving too fast and I can't get off the train? And do I actually relish that? Relish that and use it as an excuse not to get off the train because I like being on the train. Pretty deep. Do I like the death train? Ask them. Do I like that train? Buying the ticket to train to death? This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us. I know I wasn't thanking the body. It's a beautiful way of looking at it. We thank the body for the service of finding heaven. But we are thankful too, the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. So of course, I'm going to have a conversation with him and ask him, is it possible in this lifetime to see more than in a body, to see more than, he says, of course, you can see more than lovely flashes. That's what this course is about, he's saying. I'm asking him so we can see totally. While in a body, we can recognize ourselves fully. He said, yes. There are no limits to that. Only what limits you would put in your mind, but we're powerful, infinite being. God holds no limits over you for wanting this body. You must see you want it, that you miscreated it. Because you'll see how that sets you free. So that's what we don't want to see. Jesus, did I create this body, miscreate this body? You can hear the yes. Am I willing to fully see that? That's the question. Because we'll see it in glimpses, the choice. But see, as long as we believe there's heaven in a body, we're going to just hang on to it. And you can see those symbols of consciousness, just trying to grasp the last breath out of the body and save bodies and all this other sort of stuff. And that's a grievance against ourselves, actually, isn't it? He says, yep. He's promising it gets gently laid aside. Okay, Jesus, I'll take you. Take you up on that promise. This is such a beautiful paragraph because it shows that everything, including a body that we would hold a grievance against ourselves for, that God holds no grievances for that. So we can walk this earth, the kingdom of heaven, and be joyous. Come sing a song of joy. And to drop all the grievances against ourselves. Now we can behold him without blinders in the light that we have learned to look upon again, to look upon infinite light. Jesus, this is a good question. Am I willing to look upon infinite light infinitely? And really have honesty of God on that, because if he tells you no, it's another really rich place to go, Jesus, I don't want to look upon light. Not one smidgen of light, not one ooch of light, not a little squeak under the door of infinite light. And you'll see it. And when you see that, you'll know. That's helpful to see. And that honesty of God is so powerful to go, I admit I don't want a squeak of light. Not one little squeak, not the tiniest little, like we watched The Green Mile last night, not even Mr. Jingles, the little mouse that runs under the door. I don't even want that much life. Yet Mr. Jingles, this little mouse, is the symbol of light, always available. And then what does somebody do? Walk up with a boot and step on it. That's what we want to do with the light. We want the experience. Have an experience, a joy can be taken away. And we have to see how much it's relished. That's that direct looking he's offering us. Okay. Now we can behold him, capital H, him without blinders, the Christ, the infinite love, but not with the eyes. But he can use the eyes, reuse the eyes, which we're using. The eyes were the hunting mechanism to find what's wrong, what shape, what color, which appearances, which bodies are attractive or not attractive or push away or wanting. Instead of using the sensory experience of the eyes, all the senses for wanting, they become this part of the celebration, unlimited, to see the glory of God. God is in everything I see. He completely, so much love in that. Because everything we would look at can be a reflection of God reflecting back in our mind, and we're looking at our mind. Well, part of it. Because it's an expression of the purity of what we are. Rather than looking and finding fault. which is a denial of divine grace. We call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in forms that seem to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. So I'm going to ask him, Jesus, is the gentle welcome to release death? Like infinitely. The falling away of the body. See, until it's seen through, we're going to, every time you think about the body, there's this sense of terror. Because the terror is going to mask not looking to see that there's no body. That's what terror is for. Terror is to avoid looking to see that none of it's true. But now we know we can go with them to the desire for terror. So you can look under terror. Let me just look under there. We just raise the hood on terror. Let's look what Jesus, what's under there. Look over at Jesus. Jesus looked terrified, then we don't have to worry. That's the light test. Like I said before, Jesus, if we look over to Jesus and he's breaking a sweat, and he didn't break a sweat on the cross, you can be sure of it. And if so, there's probably nothing that's going to ever happen in this lifetime that's going to, have that kind of test. Although it feels like it because we're crucifying ourselves every day. But if we can look over at Jesus and go, is he breaking a sweat? Then I don't have to worry about this. And he never breaks a sweat, which is a good indication we don't need to either. He's our brother. He's the same as us. He is us. He's what's here. Infinite light. Calling us home. We're calling each other home. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended. There's just no attachment to it anymore because there's no more of that desire. Like David Hoffmeister says, and I'm hearing Jesus say the same thing. I don't hear anything different. It will haunt you in your grave. Because you have to consciousness, this is how consciousness plays. See? It's an avoidance mechanism to look right now, to see that love is here right now. And it loves that experience of a horrific death. It loves that experience. You can ask Jesus. And then it seems to fall asleep and then wake up in another form. But it's still in the dream of consciousness. It's still in the dream bubble. So it's just another dream within the dream. All these sequential lives and all that other kind of stuff. So we're not free until we see it through all the way. All the grievance for making a world and that we're holding against ourselves. Got to go all the way. That's supreme happiness, though. Checking in with Jesus. He says yes. Okay. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended, the labor of love, of serving all, serving totality in fullness. That's joy. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts we gave were saved for us: infinite love, infinite joy. I'm just asking him, so Jesus, a horrific death is just not wanting to see, not wanting to accept divine power. We don't judge that for someone else, but it's for all of us to see that he's saying right here, gentle, drop the body, but the grievances have to be all cleared because we're holding those grievances against ourselves. So they have to be all seen through. So it's not just, it's helpful to see that there's one, many teachers, there are many, that see that it's one. But unless the mind is fully purified, of the desire for all these experiences, they will appear. For Christ is clearer now, his vision more sustained in us, his voice, the word of God, more certainly our own. This is after the body drops. How about that? Yeah, I'm asking them. Okay. This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind of forgiveness of ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness. Yet first true healing must have come to bless the mind with loving pardon for the sins it dreamed about and laid upon the world. So it's just the ending of the dream of a world. Yeah, he says, yes, you know, it's just, but he knows that we believe so much in this dream, and the play of consciousness is to believe the dream. So he comes to comfort and says, it's going to be, he's saying, you're in the hands of God always, whether you're in this body or not. As I've said before, like he gave me the image, I'm asking him, you gave me the image of sitting on God's lap, because we love bodies and having that picture of God, you know, like Santa Claus. You know, it has a body and you sit on his lap, but it's just the same. Just so it's clear to God, we pull out a protest sign, even though we're sitting in his lap. I will not be happy.
No way.
Jesus, am I determined not to be happy? You can ask him that. I'm asking him that, just touching base. You know, because I know I can ask for a miracle if there's any kind of that activity. And I do. Let's see. Oh. For Christ is clearer now, his vision more sustained in us, his voice, the word of God, more certainly our own. This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind of forgiveness of the ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness. So he's bringing to mind something that's been happening, like with reading through these chapters, how it seems like it's jumping around. What I start to see, there's so much love coming talking about this. You start like it's nonlinear, so it's allowing, so the ego has a way it thinks it's supposed to learn. You know, I'm going to read the book through and I'm going to do it that way, and it's going to be, but the mind becomes so unbound, so guided that it's either we're allowing Jesus to bring our attention gently to what do we need to see, and that's not linear. It may go back, it may go here, but you're trusting he's constantly is taking the mind to exactly what we need to see because we ask for it. See, it's the ego's idea. I have to do things linearly. It's got to be like this. And I'm not going to do that anymore because we already covered that paragraph before. But there's so much freedom and go, oh, okay, Jesus, you must want me to see this, you know, and just there's something more for me to see here. Go deeper, go deeper. And that's what I feel like this whole, for me, like song of prayer, it's like getting every sentence. As he's saying, he said today, the course lives within you. It's the pointing directly to divinity, eternal life. It's on now to have a direct experience and to trust him so much that when he's talking here about the body falling away, which is a major source of terror within consciousness and suffering, you know, everyone's trying to live longer and modify the body, and you know, there are untold numbers of clinics that people come here to get the stretch. It's really self-torture. Ask Jesus. Is all that self-torture? Now, we don't judge it if a being goes and does it.
The rack.
It is a form of the rack. That's what it is. You can ask him, is it helpful or necessary? It's just avoidance of looking again. If I can just get this body to last longer, if I can order cryopreservation, in other words, what that is they freeze the body and fill you full of liquid. So when you freeze, your blood doesn't crystallize and blow out all your cells, all the water in your body crystallize. Life extension. Jesus is just saying, let yourself rest.
Let it go.
You know, it's not who you are. Not who you are gently, he's even saying. A gentle passage to a higher prayer. Even more crickets. We'll sing like little crickets up there in heaven. Yet first, true healing must come to bless the mind with loving pardon for the sins it dreamed about and laid upon the world. Now are its dreams dispelled in quiet rest, for its forgiveness comes to heal the world, and it is ready to depart in peace, the journey over and the lessons learned. David is hilarious. I heard he said something like, man, you know, I'm flying in a plane and it's going crap, you know, it's going down. I'm like celebrating. Well, it's just not, you know, he's, you know, you can really rest. You can't rest in peace where you feel haunted by the body dropping. You looking over your shoulder, my body, you know, somebody's coming to get me. I have to have attack dogs. I wonder if these dogs will protect me if some bad guy comes in that yard. If that hadn't been clear to my mind, I don't think I'd be living in Mexico because there were so many ideas about attack. You know, it's rough and you got the drug cartels and it's beautiful because the beings who come down here, their family, that's the first thing, their family, their reflections come in the mind, you know, you're going to go down there and you're going to, you know, oh my God. And then people get down here and go, oh my gosh, the people are just the most loving. It's the mind. Are we willing to accept that our brother is the same everywhere, holy, whole, and complete? And to see everything in wholeness and in completion. Only a mind who's vested in attack. I love that. You know, somebody broke into Ramana's ashram and I think they had some money, a little bit of money saved up, and they hit him with the stick and he gave him his other leg and said, you can hit this one. You know, he was just so, what do you need? Take it. It is like that peaceful warrior too.
Yeah.
You watch that movie, you know, and he's walking along with the teacher and I think they wanted his watch first and then they, you know, and then he said, give him your clothes and all these sorts of things. That was hilarious. And they're walking away, I think, in their underwear at the end of it. Because just to see how much these things really matter to us. You know, if we can't give away our watch, we got a pretty darn, under guidance, we got a pretty darn attachment to the body, and it's going to hurt when the body drops, before it drops for sure, because we're holding on to it. That's why all the suffering for so many beings before the body drops. Okay, he's saying it can be gentle. Now its forgiveness comes to heal the world and it's ready to depart in peace, the journey over and the lessons learned. This is not death according to the world, for death is cruel in its frightened eyes and takes the form of punishment for sin. You can ask him. Go ahead, Jesus, do I want to have a death that's painful and punishes me for sin? If he says yes, hone in. Okay, hone in with them and say, I think I need to clear that, Jesus. He'll be happy to clear that idea, that desired experience. That's what he's offering. I'm going to help you clear out all the desires, have experience of hospital stays and ICUs and, you know, all the play in consciousness. Like David says, insurance is betting against yourself. I'm going to bet on the side of Jesus and have him just use miracles right and left and right and left. So there's not even a thought until he tells me every thought about spending time inside of a hospital is, which he already has told me. Not in arrogance. It's actually arrogance to buy insurance. I asked him, yes. Just follow guidance. He's not trying to scare everybody, but he's being direct. Insurance is a play in consciousness. I mean, it's practical. Sometimes it's practical, but let him guide it. Okay. Otherwise, we're investing in personal identity, the belief that death or we need to protect a future. Okay. This is not the death according to the world, for death is cruel in its frightened eyes and takes the form of punishment for sin. How could it be a blessing then? Jesus, I'm asking him, am I willing to see that death is a blessing? That's just a body dropping away. You start to see everything's a blessing, he's saying. And how could it be welcome when it must be feared? I'm just checking in, see if there's any fear of death. That's supreme happiness, not being afraid of death over our heads. See, it's self-imposed fear. You have to fear yourself, capital S, in order to feel death, he's saying. How can it be welcome when it must be feared? Well, first of all, who said it must be feared? Jesus, must death be feared? Now, here's a question. Who are we going to believe? Are we going to believe Jesus, the one who knows, or are we going to believe the ego? He said it's just another game of self-torture. Okay. What healing has occurred in such a view of what is merely opening the gate to higher prayer and kindly justice done? Higher prayer. All right, Jesus. Let's just ask him. Jesus, so we can hear it inside. Jesus, is death just a release to higher prayer, higher order prayer? He says yes. It's just communion as you're meant to. You're meant to be in full communion. I said no distractions. He said no distractions. Communion. Okay. That's happiness. And kindly justice done. God's justice. You're innocent. Death is reward and not punishment, but such a viewpoint must be fostered by the healing that the world cannot conceive. There is no partial healing. What but shifts illusions has done nothing. See, that's how, when we're playing it inside that dream bubble, that's all we're doing is just different illusions come and go. The illusions of a body sick, illusions of a body healing, getting better, and we're playing in the delusion. True healing is again taking these desires with Jesus all the way to see where we think heaven's in there. And then to really see, no, I was confused. I tried to short circuit myself. I liked the relish of the delusion. And then we can clear it and see that it can't happen even if we want it to. What but shifts illusions has done nothing. What is false cannot be partly true. If you are healed, your healing is complete. You see, it's listo. It's done. The question is, are we willing to accept a miracle? See, the miracle is the full clearing. And that's again why he's taking us down to show us where we don't want miracles through these desires. It's so helpful. If you are healed, your healing is complete. Forgiveness is the only gift you give and would receive. False healing rests upon the body's cure, leaving the cause of illness still unchanged, ready to strike again until it brings cruel death in seeming victory. This is some good, robust things to have a deep conversation with Jesus about. And asking him, am I relishing a cruel death? Do I feel like I deserve, somewhere under there? And just clear that with him. He's gonna, so you won't have to be afraid and look over our shoulder and wait for a big foot to step on us like the mouse. It can be held at bay a little while, and there can be brief respite as it waits to take its vengeance on the Son of God. See, that's how consciousness plays. Comes up, hell period, disappears for a while, and it seems to be like happiness. That's a trick. Then it comes up again. You know, it's like we've talked about waiting for the shoe to drop. It's desiring an experience that a shoe drops every now and then. And it takes different forms, and it comes up and the shoe drops, a little hell here, then a little pleasure, which is still hell. And it's going to happen again over and over again until the underlying desire for the experience is cleared, is given to the miracle. Yet it cannot be overcome until all faith in it has been laid by. This is the message from Jesus. What you pray for, you receive. So every subconscious prayer we're receiving. So if we're subconsciously praying for hell, which the ego is, that's the plan, then it keeps popping up. Hell just keeps popping up. It seems to pop up. We're in it all the time. Because even when it's subterranean, there's on the surface just this disquietude, always disquietude, but we pretend it's fine and we try to dive into pleasure, which is still disquietude. Because we can never be quiet or restful until we rest as ourselves. This popping up and going down, and it's just a constant state of hell. We don't even see how we're in a constant state of hell, confusing pleasure and pain for joy, and then arguing about Jesus about what pleasure and what joy is. This feels joyful. No, it's in the play of consciousness so we have to keep going to him so he can show us when we're in the play. It cannot be overcome to all faith in it. We place the faith in the ego, the subterranean, has been laid by and placed upon God's substitute for evil's dreams, a world in which there's no veil of sin to keep it dark and comfortless. At last, the gate of heaven opens, and the Son of God is free to enter in the home that stands ready to welcome him and was prepared before time was and still but waits for him. Aren't we ready for that now? Like, I am. I'm diving in there. You know, it's like coming to home plate. Let's not wait. Slide on in. Let's not wait. We're going to slide in together. Everybody's holding hands. It's not a fight to get there first. We're all going. And like Walter said, he's going to be there for his partner. We're going to be there for our partners, for everyone on this ship. Because we all go together, you and I. And that sentence will eventually put your head on the floor. When we see what that means. It's the acknowledgement that God's gifts are equally given to all. And as he extends his gifts, so we extend his gifts like he gives them, giving all to all. In celebration of totality. So it's just continuing celebration of totality of all that is. We are the prayer. We're like little walking prayer and 2 feet. Walking communion with God. And we just kind of, the body seems to move, but we don't go anywhere. Because we're sitting on God's lap, just kind of watching, but we're not tilted by the delusion. Is there anything else? No, Jesus says, be love. Only love, for that is what you are. He says, know that God would have nothing else for you than that. So we thank you for joining us. Unified with one goal. That's what brings us together, really. Our little Jesus magnet hood. With this one goal in mind, together. This wedding, the wedding of purpose, the marriage of purpose, to go one way, and that way is home. And to let Jesus show us the best use of time, the most helpful use of time, to see that we're light and can't be anything other than light. So we thank you for for following Jesus and setting your time to be in the timeless with us. And tomorrow we invite all of you to join us at 3. We're having a little, we don't know what it's going to be actually. I guess Jesus is going to tell us. But it's just a celebration of his love for us through the guidance to open the center, the Joining in Light Center, to serve brothers who would like that deeper look with Jesus and want to hear his voice more deeply. And the light circles will do it. It's just if you're guided, he'll call you here. And then our function really here is to provide the support for those who get called by Jesus, actually. And he's the one who invites. But also just to celebrate. We're just grateful for all of you. So if you'd like to join us at 3, you're welcome. And then the beings will be talking, who have had experiences talking to Jesus from the light circles or chapter 20, whatever Jesus is telling you to say, because that's your function, to speak his voice. Then we invite you to come speak Jesus's voice. Or if you have questions about speaking Jesus's voice or hearing it, it's just really open. We're really open on it, because it's just love coming together to celebrate. So we love you all. Here's the love team here. And we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, let me see. Okay, 2 questions. So I'll go ahead. Let's see. And sometimes I'll answer them in the sessions, and sometimes you can send them to me separate from the sessions, and I'll answer them in the next session. But he says, yes, he'll answer these. Okay. Okay, after conversation in the afternoon, this is from Elizabeth, I had a pain back, but opened the book to chapter 20, and now I'm okay. Thank you. Aw. That's beautiful, Elizabeth. I love you too. God bless you. We need you. We need you in our ship with us. So we send you a big hug. Okay, how can I hold the holy instant for a long time? Another great question. Okay, you are the holy instant. So you can't hold it because you're it. So remember, Jesus can't teach us love because it's beyond the course. Because what happens is the desires fall away, you see you're it. We cease to deny that we are the holy instant forever. The holy instant is just a recognition that light's here, and we can see it. There's something here that's infinite. And now we go to Jesus. He can only help us remove the blocks. See his function? To help us remove the blocks, that the holy instant is always here. And so we just work on the blocks through chapter 20 and through joining, and just join with a brother. And that way, what's most natural to us, the light, becomes more apparent to us. It's no longer veiled over. So we're going for Jesus, and he's promised to coach us individually, each one just exactly like we need it, and talk to us. So you can ask him. He'll tell you which desires to look at first, and then go in his order. Amen.
Thank you very much. I love you.
Amen. 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 In the Muya. Amen. 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 I think we need another singing session. That'll come up soon. All right. They like the singing. We like the singing with you guys. Okay. Love you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I love you so much.
I love
Honey.
you too.
Beautiful.